joining us. I'm Vladimir Dutin. Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush has officially joined the 2016 presidential race. He is now the 11th Republican to formally announce his candidacy. After months of speculation, Bush made his announcement in front of a packed auditorium at Miami-Dade College.
They've offered a progressive agenda that includes everything but progress. They're responsible for the slowest economic recovery ever, the biggest debt increases ever, a massive tax increase on the middle class, the relentless buildup of the regulatory state, and the swift, mindless drawdown of a military that was generations in the making. I, for one, am not eager to see what another 4 years would look like under that kind of leadership. The presidency should not be passed on from one liberal to the next. So here's what it comes down to. Our country's on a very bad course, and the question is, what are we going to do about it? The question for me is, what am I going to do about it? And I've decided I'm a candidate for President of the United States of America. We will take command of our future once again in this country. We will lift our sights again, make opportunity common again, get events in the world moving our way again. We will take Washington, the static capital of this dynamic country, then turn it out of the business of causing problems, and we'll get it back on the right side of free enterprise and freedom for all Americans. I know we can fix this because I've done it. With their phone-it-in foreign policy, the Obama, Clinton, Kerry team is leaving a legacy of crises uncontained, violence unopposed, enemies unnamed, friends undefended, and alliances unraveling. This supposedly risk-adverse administration is also running us straight in the direction of the greatest risk of all, military inferiority. It will go on automatically until a president steps in to rebuild our armed forces and take care of our troops and our veterans. And they have my word, I will do it.
Just after Jeb Bush's speech, we spoke to Nancy Cordes, who was in Miami for the 2016 announcement.
Well, I thought it was interesting the way that he talked about his family. He spoke very proudly about his mother, Barbara Bush, who was there in the audience, and he didn't shy away from the fact that he comes from this family, from this famous family. But he argued that that shouldn't be a criteria either for or against him, that the true test is executive experience, as Anthony said. And he talked all about his 8 years as Florida governor, really trying to focus on the compassion that he says he showed as governor for children who couldn't afford to go to great schools, for immigrants. He says he wants to broaden the party, and that, frankly, that's the only way that the party is going to win in 2016.
Nancy, it's to that point, broadening the party. Anthony and I were talking about this as we listened to the governor make this speech. At one point he said, referencing Baltimore, he said, thinking about the events we watched long ago in Baltimore where so many young people, so many young adults are walking around with no vision of a life beyond the life they know. It's a tragedy played out over and over and over again. Was he talking about, do you think, listening to that, was he talking about Freddie Gray, or was he talking about education, or is it meant to be interpreted by different people in different ways?
I think he's talking about education. You know, he's taken a lot of flack from conservatives for his position on Common Core. He was a big supporter of Common Core, something that's very unfashionable among conservatives. It's one of two big issues where he really breaks with a lot of people in the party. So his speech was trying to remind conservatives that, hey, maybe you're not with me on that issue, but when it comes to other areas of education like school choice, school vouchers, I was the first governor to implement implement a statewide school voucher program in the country, saying that he really led the way on this fight and arguing that if this was the kind of thing that was encouraged around the country, that perhaps situations like Baltimore, where young people felt a kind of hopelessness, might not happen. Now, of course, Democrats, by and large, would disagree with him on that front, but what he's really trying to say to the base is, hey, look, you know, my disagreement with you on one or two issues has really been blown out of proportion, and by and large, I'm with you. He called himself a conservative. All the speakers I noticed who came before him described him as a conservative as well. They're trying to remind voters that that is what he is, first and foremost.
And Nancy, didn't seem to go after Hillary Clinton that strongly. I mean, he had one part when he talked about Hillary's progressive agenda, counters, and religious beliefs, and he said that her quote was that things have to be changed. He went on to talk about some religious aspects of those comments, but didn't seem to go after her or President Obama that strongly in this.
Right, he really, if anything, focused on President Obama, saying that we've learned what a lack of executive experience can lead to when someone walks into the White House. You know, he's really making the case that you've got to have those leadership qualities. And he's not just making it because, you know, he wants to win in a general election. He needs to do it, first off, in this primary campaign. He's going up against 16 or so people, a number of them who, you know, really speak very forcefully, who have people who are in their corner. He's got folks like Rand Paul, who's got a lot of supporters, Marco Rubio, and he has to try to set himself apart from them and say, look, those guys can talk a good game, but they're in Congress where they really don't have to make the tough decisions. They can vote for something, they can make a speech about something, but then they get to wash their hands of it. I was governor, I had to follow through, I had to tackle the big issues and get results.
Nancy Cordes reporting there for us. Nancy, we'll look forward to your piece on Evening News tonight. Thanks for being with us.